Them no know, them no know, them no know. Say me a real top girl. Them fi know me a real top girl, real top girl, real top girl. Me can do it natural. Them no know, them no know, them no know. Say me a real top girl. Them fi know me a real top girl, real top girl, real top girl. Me can do it natural. Face pretty, me no need no filter. Real top girl I road, sharp like splinter. Me no wear girl clothes, me no pose in a rental. Work for this, it no coincidental. Money longer than the line in the airport. Eat them white like my Air Force, me a drip. On the soon need a raincoat, creep up on them like police in a plain clothes. Them no know, them no know, them no know. Say me a real top girl. Them fi know me a real top girl, real top girl, real top girl. Me can do it natural. Them no know.
Hey YouTube besties, this is your girl Arlena. I am back with another video. Now this video is all about my backfill process. A backfill is where you remove a design entirely and start with a new design. However, we're just removing the design and prepping the new growth of the natural nail and then adding a new design. Now when I say prepping the new growth, I am removing the design, but I am not removing my protective layer of the Mia Secrets neutral pink that I normally put as my base, because the design that we're doing is going to be more or less of a painted design, and then I'm going to do an overlay of clear to build the nail to the thickness that is required and build the apex accordingly. So what I'm doing here is I'm removing the colored acrylic only. In this case we had used Coconuts by 876 to get that milky white background that you see, and then I did a Christmas design on her ring finger only. However, because we're doing a backfill, I'm only removing the milky white, as much of it as possible, so that I get to the protective layer of the Mia Secrets neutral pink that I normally use as my base. And then I prep the new growth area because this set was a month old. I did that set on December 7th 2024, and we did the backfill on January 11th 2025. So this is my process for a backfill. Remove the old design entirely, prep the new growth area, and then do my design. Normally when she comes, especially if we wait 4 weeks, we will do a cut down because all of this is her natural nail. She doesn't have on any tips. This is one of the my greatest achievement where she's concerned. Her nails grow very healthy, and I'm not sure if you guys remember her, but when Jules first started coming to me, she's a picker. Whenever she's anxious or whenever she's stressed, she picks her fingers, she picks her cuticle area. Sometimes she rips off her flesh and it looks painful. However, she doesn't do that as much. I'm going to say within the last 2 or 3 months, she's had a little bit of stress, so she's been picking, but not her fingers, but the actual acrylic. So sometimes when she comes back to me, I would say in the last 2 months when she came to me, her index finger and her thumb is always missing pieces because she actually picks at it and breaks off the acrylic. I don't know how she gets it done, but she gets it done. But I'm very happy that she's doing that and not her actual skin. I'm trying to get her away from picking the acrylic because I said to her, you're damaging your nail. So every time she came to me in the last 2 months, I had to repair 2 of her nails. So we've had a conversation at her last appointment. She promises she's going to try her best to do better. So fingers crossed. So here I am prepping the new growth area and doing my prep trio. So I use the cuticle pusher to push back her cuticles. Then I use the 180 grit sanding band to take off the shine and remove any excess cuticles that I may have at the side walls, because Back then, I used to shy away from using the clippers. However, I've gotten more comfortable with using it now, so I use it a lot more rather than using the sanding band to get rid of the cuticles and then using the diamond ball bit. So I have grown so much in the last 2 years of doing nails, and I'm very proud of myself. One of the things I'm very proud of is I have no lifting on my nails when I do them, none whatsoever. So whenever I do my nails, I keep my nails for a month and a half, sometimes 2 months before I do a refill. So I am getting there. Hopefully I get to build my clientele this year, and then I have more practice on other persons. So to prep my nails, I use the Gelin Dehydrator, Young Nails Protein Bond, and the Mia Secret Extra Bond. I'm only showing you the prep on one of the fingers because it's the same for all of them. However, I'm going to show you the application on all of the fingers because I did 2 solid colors, one in pink and one in orange. So the pinky I did in pink and the index finger I did in orange. However, the ring finger, the middle finger, and the thumb I did a marble with the pink and the orange, and that gave me hell to do. So I'm going to show you the process here with how I did my marbling and explain to you which one worked best for me and the reason why doing it that way worked best for me. Now, the products that I used was this was December, Creative Nail Supplies Unicorn Elixir, which is the monomer, and I use Sassy's orange and pink acrylic. Now, Sassy is a acrylic brand, but a beauty brand that we get here at our local beauty supply store. And I'm not gonna tell you a lie, the acrylic is trash. I'm not gonna tell you a lie. And after using DreamNailSupplies, using Not Polish, using Nail House's acrylics, Sassy is trash because it dries in no time. Hence me explaining that I had to paint it on and not use it to build the nail, but I basically use it to paint on the color. That's why I'm using this acrylic brush, because this brush is a brush that I bought from AliExpress. So it's one of those cheap brushes, and it's easier for me to use this to paint on an acrylic than using my regular brush, especially since it is a very cheap brand. I'm not going to tell you a lie, I probably paid what, $5 US for one of those jars, one of those 2-ounce jars. It was it 2 or 1 ounce? 1-ounce jar, sorry, which is 10 Barbados dollars if I paid that much for it. That's how cheap it is. And it dries in no time. When I tell you it dries in no time, it dries in no time. And you're gonna understand why I say that when it comes to the marbling. That marble gave me hell to work with. Hell to work with. How far am I in this video? So we're at 8 minutes, and you would have seen me paint on the pink. Now I'm painting on the orange. You can see how beautiful and bright the colors are. That's why I chose those colors. The pink is a nice, soft, yet still bright pink. It's not fuchsia, but a very bright powdered pink. And the orange is just orange. I found in my previous videos a lot of my P's are being pronounced and you're getting feedback from it. I need to charge my mics. I haven't used those in a very long time. I'm not sure if they're working still, but I'm going to charge them to see if it makes a difference with my pronunciations, because I'm using a Samsung S8 to do my videos and voiceovers most of the time. And because I'm holding the phone close to my mouth, and this phone is very old, but it gives a very good quality in terms of my recordings. So here you see that I put a bead down of the pink and then a bead down of the orange. I waited too long to add the second bead of pink. So by the time I went to marble, the first bead of pink was already hard. So you can see me here fighting with it because it was already polymerized and setting. So I was there fighting with it, trying to see how I can get it to work and to move. So I had to figure out how to make it work. So I tried to use the belly of the brush. As you can see, the brush is not that big. I had to try to use the belly of the brush to flatten it out a bit so that I am not left with a hump of pink peeking out and that it actually looks like a marble. So my first marble, the beads were drying way too fast. That annoyed the hell out of me. When I tell you that annoyed the hell out of me, that annoyed the hell out of me. I left all 3 of the marbles in because I wanted you to see which ones worked and which didn't. This was a learning experience for me, especially using such a cheap brand. I have no issues marbling with DreamNailSupply. I have no issues marbling with Nail House. I have no issues. Actually, the only one that I think I've had issues with marbling is Manicured Lawns by Not Polish. I'm not sure if it's a case where I didn't use enough monomer while marbling. That may have been it. I haven't used it in a while, but maybe next time I'll try to use more liquid. What do you guys think thus far? Have you been enjoying my videos that I'm putting out? Let me know what's up. Let your girl know what she needs to change, what she needs to add. I'm just trying to get better and trying to grow and making sure I'm putting out content that you guys are excited to see and that you can give me advice on, you know, trying to grow as a nail tech. What have you guys been up to? Today is Friday, March 6th. It is March 6th, right? Yes, today is Friday, March 6th. Gearing up to go home to see my uncle tomorrow. My sister and I are going home for a couple days and hoping that he's doing a lot better. I'll keep you guys up to date where that is concerned. So we're back to the marbling. What I decided to do on the second finger was layer the colors, marble them up how I wanted to in layers. So I put down the pink, marbled a little bit, put down the orange, marbled a little bit, put down the pink, marbled a little bit, and just tried my best to work with them on the wetter side. I think when I did one of them, I'm thinking it probably was a thumb, I tried to do wetter beads and try to marble the 2 of them, but when we get to the thumb I'll explain that part. So this method here with adding one color, marbling it a little bit up, I shouldn't say marbling it, adding one color, spreading it in a manner that I know I can add more layers. Let's say I would put down the pink, spread it, and then put down the orange, spread it, and then try to marble the orange into the pink where there's space available, so that it actually marbles and not just put down one color on top of each other. And that really works for me. So the middle finger process works best for me in this set. And like I said, it was because I was using very cheap acrylics. I'm not going to lie, it's because I was using very cheap acrylics. And honestly, they're good for painting, like I said, just not good for building. So I'm basically using them for the color. The colors are very, 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 very vibrant and they stand out. So they work for that. But to say that I'm going to use it to build a nail, never. I think it probably would be good for doing 3D flowers as well, but I'm not so good at 3D flowers because I don't do them much. That is something I want to work on for Easter. So wish your girl luck where that's concerned. We're at the thumb. Let me see. I think this is where I try to do a wet bead and 2 wet beads and try to marble them. However, the orange overpowered the pink. So this one didn't work. So then I had to go back to add in the layers of one color, spreading out, making sure there's divots in the event I wanted to add more of the other color. And like I said, that is what works for me in terms of doing the marble and getting the effects that I wanted. So trying to do wetter beads, 2 wet beads together and then marbling wasn't working because the orange was overpowering the pink. There you guys have it. So here I'm going to say my thank yous. If you are new, thank you for taking the time to watch my videos. I do hope you like, comment, and subscribe so that you can see future videos from me and we get to know each other in the comment section. If there is anything you want me to show or wish for me to try, please let me know in the comment sections and I'll be happy to oblige. If you're returning, thank you for coming, thank you for staying, and thank you for being committed. Don't forget to like, comment, and if you want to go to the extra mile, share to your social. It will mean a lot to me because it will share the content out to more subscribers or viewers and in turn build my channel. Let's see, what next should I talk about? Okay, I did not show any filing in this video because I wanted to pay close attention to the application of the marble. And once I'm finished with all of the application, I capped with the Picasso's Clearest Clear because, like I said back then, I was using that as my encapsulation layer because it is one of the clearest that I've come across. Since then, I've been introduced to Acrylic Cure by Lucy and DreamNailSupplies by Drea Marie. However, DreamNailSupplies is no longer active, and I do still have some clear from her because when she was closing the LLC, I bought a 16-ounce jar from her. So here I'm capping with my Picasso's Clearest Clear, and I'm using a very old number 20 brush. It was just one of those brushes that I got from my beauty supply store. So it doesn't have a name and the handle is just clear acrylic. And it's pretty old, so there's lots of acrylic stuck on it. The monomer has a melted part of it, so it's a pretty old brush and some of the bristles are not that good. So whenever I use it, I have to soak it in a monomer for a day to make sure, because we all know that clear tends to stick to your brush. So I normally soak it in monomer for the remainder of the day and clean it up the evening. Sometimes I forget and I clean it the next day. But that is how I keep my brushes clean. Soak them in monomer and then clean them up after the end of the day. I actually showed capping of the index finger as well. I didn't even realize that I left that in. We're at 19 minutes and this video is 21 minutes and about 18 seconds, I think, if I can see correctly. My eyes have gotten so bad I have to go back to the optometrist to get my eyes checked because I think I need to change my prescription. I'm not sure if it has gotten bad or if it has gotten worse, or if it's just a matter of adjusting my prescription, because I find that it's harder for me to see up close with or without my glasses. So I am not sure if I need to change my prescription. My farsightedness is the same with my glasses. I think it's worse without my glasses, but I hardly ever wear my glasses, not wear my glasses, because I find if I don't wear my glasses, if I try not to wear my glasses, I end up with too many headaches and I can't deal with it. So this is the finished set. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you have any tips and tricks for marbling when we're using cheap acrylics. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. This is Arlena sending you lots of love, sunshine and rainbows from Barbados. Bye, YouTube besties.
Come in, take losses. I swear that I the truth. I regular me off it till a boy do say yes. And the game I play me off it win.